Okay, so I have been able to actually make it to reading a total of 50 more pages, I think, without having to hop on here and talk about this book. But it's not because I didn't have anything to talk about, it's because I was just trying to read more before I came on here and talked, because when I start talking, it's kind of hard for me to stop. So, there have been more additions to the notes. I mean, did we expect anything different? Probably not. So, yeah, let's just get started with the notes. I don't think I'm going to read every single quality that I've read. I think I'm just going to read the name of the quality when I have something specific to say about that quality, just because. So, with that, there is number 23, the quality, is a witch works with connections. And in this one, he ends up basically prompting for the practice section to create a witch's bottle. Now, I already have a witch's bottle right now. I have a witch's bottle right now. But I did want to create one that had different ingredients in it than the ones that are in the one that I currently have. And then I decided this would be a great thing to do with my witchy peeps. So I already got them in on the loop, which is basically my sister and my friend Belen that's been on this channel in vlogs before somewhere. And we're going to go ahead and create witch bottles. Now, I'm a little hesitant to share some of the ingredients that we're going to be using in the witch's bottle. Also because there's probably going to be a difference in ingredients per each person for, I think, obvious reasons. But I did want to share one thing that I was going to add to the witch's bottle because I just thought it was cool. And oh my God, I think I'm so creative. So this candle right here, as you can tell, she burned fucking clean, right? This was a protection candle and she burned so clean and so perfect. So I thought, this is where I'm going to get my broken glass from. So I'm going to smash it in like a bag so I don't lose the glass pieces, because then that would defeat the purpose, right? But I'm going to go ahead and smash it and break it, and that's going to be my source for the glass that I'm going to be adding to my other witch's bottle. So yeah, that kind of gave me the idea. And that's what I love about this book, but just reading witchy books in general, is that they really spark your creativity to want to get your hands in something to do the craft portion, right? Okay, this one, I really just loved these little excerpts that I'm going to read from the quality 27, which is a witch resists false dreams. And this is just, it kind of like is a little heart-wrenching, but so we create stand-ins, the false dreams, the things it feels okay to claim, that feel safe to desire, in part because we know we'll never truly try to make them real. Such delusional dreams are like energetic sinkholes that ceaselessly open up under the foundation of our life and magic. We feel the sinkholes that weaken our structure, and though we may not see it happen, it will take the whole house in time. That was just like poetic and just like sad, because it's kind of a reminder of why we should go for the things that we truly want instead of those things that are safer to want. The next excerpt is from Quality 28, which is a witch stands in a position of power. It reads, witchcraft is at its core an ally in exactly those times and places where we would otherwise feel powerless. As witches, our job is to remember that we still have power, still have agency, and still have a say in how we move forward in our lives. Just powerful statements. Then quality 30, a witch invokes power. I have a few things highlighted, but I didn't want to read from the book. I wanted to just take a time to pause and remind anyone that's watching this that any of these qualities can be invoked. So a witch invokes power, right? But a witch can also invoke any quality from the book of qualities, right? And that just kind of seemed like a good thing to say. You can invoke anything. Oh, whoa, I'm about to drop something over here. I did highlight something that I did want to read, though. I lied. We call in the quality and let it infuse us with its nature, like soaking in a bath of that specific blend of power. So he was talking about invoking qualities within ourselves, and then that's what triggered the thought, and maybe he did it on purpose or not. But you can invoke all of these qualities. You can invoke, I'm just going to flip to a random page. You can invoke, well, that one's about power too. A witch owns their thoughts. That's a quality you can invoke if you have a problem or issues with thinking that or actually working with that quality. Okay, quality 37. A witch works with their allies. I highlighted this one because I think I mentioned it before that he, as in the author of this book, Aiden Watcher, tends to not rhyme a whole lot when he writes his chants. And that doesn't work for me. So sometimes when he provides these chants, I will rewrite them in my own words if it's a quality that I want to work with or something that I want to apply somewhere. So this one he's talking about works with their allies, which can be your ancestors, spirit guides, higher power deities, entities, etc., etc. You get what the point is. So I kind of wanted to read what I wrote, which is vastly different than what he wrote, but I kind of wanted to share this, and maybe if somebody likes it, they can use it too. And by the way, I don't care about keeping books in pristine condition. I feel like if your book is in pristine condition, you're either collecting it, which means you're not going to be touching it really, or you're just not reading it. So I wrote in the book because it's my book and I can do what I want, right? Okay, so I wrote, to you, the mighty dead and liminal spirits, my true allies, I thank you for aiding my vision, so I see through the lies. I have invited you many times before and offered libations. The connections have been made, and you have honored my invitations. We work together in the dark, where we never miss our mark. With our will, we do our sending. Our success is never ending. The work is done, so mote it be. Because I said so. Now let us see. And then I kind of felt like this was... My dog's outside playing with a bottle. For me personally, I felt like this was good in general for calling for all types of ancestors to doing any types of work. But this just seemed like a really good thing that I needed to kind of do in the moment. I don't know. I was just called to do it. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, this next one comes with a story. So, this is quality 39. A witch knows not all others are allies. And by others, he's basically talking about, others from the other world, on the other side of mundane. So he talks about, he gives you the questions, he gives you a practice where he gives you an example of how you might want to interact with entities, spirits, energies that don't seem very friendly in your space. So I thought that was good that he gave that example of what he does and also gives people an idea of what they can do if they find themselves in that situation and then maybe they get scared or something. Now, I recently had an interesting encounter. I was in the middle of doing trance work with one of the dragon elementals, and we were interacting with one another. We were talking. I was asking a question, and now my eyes are closed and I'm not in my room at that moment, right? But then all of a sudden, it's like I'm in my room again. It's like I'm seeing something. I guess it's like if I was in one screen having this interaction, and then another screen pops up over here, and I'm in my room. And in the corner of one of my rooms, actually that corner right there, in the corner of one of my rooms, I see this thing that kind of looks like a girl, from The Grudge or The Ring. And she looks like she's in black and white. There's no color. And she's got this hideous face. And she's crouched in the corner. Like if, I don't know, gravity defies her. Or she defies gravity, I should say. And she's crouched and hunched over. And she's got her hands in between touching her feet. And she's just looking at me like menacingly. And I'm just like, what the like, where is this coming from? Why did this just come out of nowhere? Like, I was completely in somewhere else. And then it was like, I was like, new screen, pay attention to this. And at first I tried to ignore it. I tried to just be like, no, that's not happening. That's not here. Bring my focus back to this. But it just kept like becoming more of an intruder in what I was trying to do here. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be bothered. You're not going to have any type of power over me. No business here. Like, who the fuck do you think you are to just interrupt me? So I don't know why, but apparently this was the solution for me. I actually called on Rot, which is my lava hydra that I created with the 7 Deadly Sins challenge. And I basically fed that to them. And they consumed her voraciously. That was, I don't know, like that was like so fucking cool. And at the same time, like once I was done, like once I did that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk to Rot later. Then I continued what I was doing here. And then when I was done what I was doing here, I went back into my astral sanctum and I went and talked to Rot, and I basically gave it like an upgrade. Which kind of reminds me of Pokemon, you know, like when they evolve. It was like Rot evolved, and now he's not just somebody who, or they, now they are not just somebody who can consume my wrath and transmute that for me, but they are now also somebody who can consume and completely eat and get fed off of things, entities, energies that are just getting on my nerves and interrupting my work. And that was just like, I don't know, chef's kiss. Like, I couldn't have planned that, like, any better. Like, that was just so fucking cool that, I don't know, where something came up and just tried to interrupt and hijack what I was doing with this other entity. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And I was able to call on, you know, that lava hydra to do that bidding for me. And of course, you already know that I fed it. It's incense blend after. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. And that happened like, I don't know, a few days ago actually, or maybe last week, something like that. Okay, so this other thing that I want to talk about isn't really relevant to the qualities. It's more of the way that I've been doing notes on this book. Like, yes, I am very chaotic. I have a bunch of different stickies. There is no color coding system with the stickies. There's only a color coding system with these transparent tabs because I'm kind of psycho like that, I guess. And then in here I have the color coded, like, key for the tabs. And then I'll have like random big sticky notes with notes on them. And then I write inside the book as well. And sometimes I fold the pages, and there's highlighted sections with different colors. And then there's underlined sections, and then there's pen marks. So there's no real system here. It's just grab whatever, because it's better to do it all instead of do nothing. And that's been my like motto lately. But anyways, that's not what I meant to say. I laugh at myself constantly because apparently I think I'm so funny and cool. No, I'm just kidding. I laugh at myself because these are things that in the past I would have fucking beat myself up for. So I just get chills just saying that. So it's kind of like a way that I reclaim my power. So that's another reason why like I like to laugh at myself a lot, because I think, one, it gets rid of any negative attachments that I have with those actions, but it also like reinfuses power to me as a person because I'm allowing myself to be human. Yeah. Okay, so back to what I was actually gonna say. I also go and write in these books things that remind me of things that I have already done or am doing. If like one of his recommended practices is something that I've done before or that I saw in another witchy book and it's a similar exercise, I'll write similar to, I don't know, psychic witch, this exercise. I don't know why I like doing that. I think it's because I kind of like want to applaud myself for remembering, because remembering things used to be an issue for me too. So yeah. Okay, I think I want to talk about this one, and this is the last one. No, there's two more things. Okay, so now this is quality 43, A Witch Walks in the Shallows. In the shallows, meaning... Okay, so the physical world, the spiritual world, the shallows being right here versus the deep end of the spiritual world or other world. So that's what he means by the shallows. And then he goes into this passage as to why he needs to have that as a descriptor. But I'm not going to share with that. You guys can read it if you want. But then he goes on to a practice or praxis section. Okay, so in this praxis, he basically is trying to help you get into that headspace where you would be in like a trance-like state or in a trance state, to help you kind of be able to step over and be in this spiritual, otherworld, ether, astral, you know, fill in the blank, whatever makes sense to you when it comes to that. And I thought this was really good too, because I think this would really help people really understand what you should be doing in terms of what things you should be saying to trigger responses so that you could hopefully sink into that state. And it really reminded me of what it is like to do shamanic journeying. It is very similar. Just like when we talk about hedge witchcraft, a lot of the things that are talked about in hedge witchcraft are very shamanic-like, and it's because you're interacting with that other world. In those instances, you just have different terminology because they're coming from these different categories of practicing types of witchcraft, of practices. I cracked myself up. Practice 44, which is quality 44, which is A Witch Knows Fear is a Friend. And in this one, he gives you a chant that's basically recognizing fear as a friend, as someone who is there. And this reminded me of another book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, I think her name is. And she was, I think, the author of Eat, Pray, Love or something like that. But that book, Big Magic, I read a couple of years ago. And she's basically talking about how she's always, like, she's conscious that fear is always going to be there, and the way that she's allowed herself to continue to keep working and produce despite fear is that she's basically talked to fear and said, okay, look, buddy, you're not going to be in the driver's seat of this car, you're not going to be in the passenger seat of this car, you're going to be in the back, and you're not even allowed to change the radio or tell us that you even like the song. Like, no, I know you're going to be there, but you're not allowed to take control, basically. And I thought that was really handy, and it stuck with me, which is why I remembered it when I read this part. So yeah, really good stuff. I'm on page 122. No, 124. So we'll see how long it takes me to finish this book.